Hello, everyone, and welcome to Historically Black Since News. I'm Shamai Cook, your host tonight, and we have three guests tonight: two HBCU alum and one HBCU student. Our first guest tonight is a visionary entrepreneur, investor, and an Alabama State University alum. Please welcome Brandon J. Hurst to the show. Hello, Mr. Hurst.
What's going on, sir? How are you?
I am well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's start off here. You are a proud Alabama State University alum. Can you talk about, what as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a businessman, you're a man of many talents, member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Can you talk about what did Alabama State teach you, to become the man that you are today?
Man, that's a really good question. So my time at Alabama State was amazing. I think with my experience, it was about learning how to be resourceful, learning how to build relationships, learning how to persevere and overcome adversity and obstacles. But I also credit Alabama State for a lot of the leadership principles and disciplines that was instilled in me then that I still carry with me today. I got started at Alabama State in 2006 and quickly just began to matriculate through the university. I joined the band in my second year, ended up becoming a drum major in my third year, becoming co-head drum major for the Mighty Marching Hornets. And so during that particular time, you think about like some of the leadership principles that I was able to learn from just leading a large number of people. I think back when I was in band, man, we had close to 350 plus students that was under my leadership, being a drum major, and then several other student organizations that I was a part of, from Alpha Kappa Psi Professional Business Fraternity and Alpha Phi Alpha. I ended up serving as the treasurer there. So I was very involved in a lot of student organizations. And what that did was that just helped hone my skills and ability to be able to lead others. And in fact, I actually got started working at a Chick-Fil-A during my time in undergrad.
Wow. Yeah, your journey as an entrepreneur with Chick-fil-A began while you were still in college at Alabama State. By 26, the age of 26, you were able to open your first location in downtown Baltimore. It's the city's first ever downtown Chick-fil-A. What was it like, and how did you, leap from employee to entrepreneurial life? How was that transition like?
So I'll share a little bit of context. So when I got to Alabama State, I already had that kind of entrepreneurial bug. Although I was pursuing a different path, I originally wanted to go to law school and work on Wall Street with the hopes of opening my own law firm. So that entrepreneurial spirit was already there. Even more so back when I started selling candy when I was in middle school. And the curiosity factor just began to grow from there. So much so that by the time I graduated high school, I had two people working for me and I was doing over $300 a day in sales. I literally was the walking vending machine. And so when I got to Alabama State, I just was looking for ways, like Chick-fil-A at the time was just a part-time opportunity. Again, no aspiration. As a college student, who walks into a restaurant and say, hey, I'm gonna own one of these one day? That certainly wasn't my mindset. And then I just had friends. I remember I got an opportunity to go and meet a mentor. I had an opportunity to go to Chicago. Chick-fil-A has an awesome internal program where they allow current team members to kind of serve at grand openings. And so got an opportunity to do that. I had a lot of firsts. I experienced a lot of my first life experiences, if you will, just by working at Chick-fil-A. And I remember I got an opportunity to go to Chicago. Back then, Chicago was a brand new market. And I'm matriculating through the system. And for the first time, I had a mentor sit me down and he's like, all right, Brandon, you're getting ready to graduate undergrad. What's next? And so I give him the whole spiel. I'm getting ready to go to law school after I finish business school. And so he kind of sits back. He's like, man, you're really good at what you're doing with Chick-fil-A. Have you ever thought about more long-term career options and or ownership opportunities? And so he sits back and he was like, why don't you move back well, why don't you move to Chicago, learn under me, and see where this potential opportunity can take you? And so at that particular time, I had just been approached by Alabama State. They were going to offer to pay for my master's in accounting. I also still had this lifelong dream of going to law school, or do I go take this brand new opportunity in Chicago? And so I had a freshman professor, Dr. Shirley Jordan. I'll never forget her, right? Talk about building community. This is why I love my HBCU. And so she stops me across the yard. She's like, Brandy, you've been on my mind a lot lately. And she reaches in her purse and she hands me this book called Taking the Risk by Dr. Ben Carson. And so I'm reading this book, and the essence of what it's talking about is oftentimes when we're assessing risk, we're talking or we're thinking about what's the worst that can happen versus what's the best that can happen. Yeah. And I kid you not, as I got done reading that book, the moment that I graduated, 2 weeks later, I packed everything I owned, drove 14 hours straight to start a brand new life in Chicago. I turned down a free master's to go work at a chicken restaurant. But that is the risk that you have to take. So I get to Chicago, I get there, and I get an amazing opportunity to learn under my mentor and also the franchise owner. And essentially what ended up happening, this franchise owner gave me the opportunity to use his business as my own laboratory. And so I had fallen in love. I'm working and I'm in this brand new market. I'm getting an opportunity to really own results and really learn in someone else's business. And so at the same time, I still completed my MBA. And when I completed my MBA, I joined Chick-Fil-A corporate side through their leadership development program. And that's when the wheels really started to turn. I got an opportunity to travel 50 weeks out of the year across the country, supporting franchise owners to help them launch their businesses. And so that's where I got bit by the bug in a sense of like, dude, you can really do this. You're consulting already. You're helping other franchise owners launch their businesses across multiple cities. Why not do it for yourself? And so I get a call. I later find out that Chick-fil-A was going to expand into the New York market. And I sat back and I was like, yo, this is my opportunity. Why not me? And so as the market continued to be developed and we continued to flesh out growth plans for the market, at that time, I had already been on the road for about 3 years. And so I needed to be planted somewhere. And that's actually how I ended up opening my first opportunity in downtown Baltimore. And what was so unique about it, as you previously mentioned, it was the inner city's first downtown location. And I was very adamant about that potential opportunity because it was a kind of unique and new concept for Chick-fil-A. As you think about us entering into more downtown urban markets, most people, or when you think about Chick-fil-A, most people think about like the brick and mortar drive-through restaurants. That's what we're known for. And so to be able to kind of spearhead, if you will, the downtown no drive-through concept, that's what I was passionate about. But I was also passionate about being able to be in a community where individuals look like you and I. And so fast forward, when Brooklyn opportunity came about, I was super excited about it and ended up relocating from Baltimore to be a history maker again, to open Brooklyn's first and second location. So my first location is located directly across from the Barclays Center. And then my second location that we just opened in November of 2024 is just about a mile east of the Barclays Center. And so today I employ almost 175 individuals from the community. And I'm excited to continue to grow, to continue to have a positive impact and influence in Brooklyn, and to continue to leave a lasting legacy.
Yeah, through your company, Birth of Dream Vendors, venture, excuse me, you're not just building your own success, you're investing in emerging entrepreneurs. What drives you to, pour into others rather than taking it all for yourself? What drives you to do that?
So I appreciate that question. I think it's a God-given purpose that I try to sit down and follow. When I think about just my own life upbringing and the circumstances that I had to overcome, I said, most people would look at it as a lot of adversity, but I look at it as a gift to be able to share with others, and to be able to uplift. And so that's my passion. I love working with the youth and younger college students, to kind of help shape their mindset and their trajectory. And I just think about the individuals who came into my community when I was growing up on the southeast side of Atlanta, and the impact that they were able to have on my life. And so I just wanted to be able to pay that forward. And so you'll see that show up. I have our vision for my current restaurant is to simply love. And for us, that stands for an acronym: lead with great tasting food, world-class hospitality, offer opportunities of growth, stability, and exposure to new life experiences, value ourselves and each other, and embrace our core values of honesty, integrity, and commitment in pursuit of excellence. And so for me, it's the O that remains central: offer opportunities of growth, stability, and exposure to new life experiences. Those three things were the exact same pillars that helped me overcome what I was going through. And I just want to be able to be a blessing and a gift to continue to pay that forward. Birth of a Dream was actually born out of my desire to kind of platform and uplift others. And so that shows up in the form of real estate investment. I have invested in Black startups from angel investing opportunities. And I just hope and pray that I am able to continue to be a beacon of light for that.
What is some advice you would give to someone who wants to start going business and want to start their business? What will you tell your younger self? Someone who was in your shoes at Alabama State or at another, HBCU or college. What would you tell them?
I think looking back, I tried to maneuver as a young college student and structurally plan out my life versus be ready for the unexpected opportunities and position yourself to take advantage of those. When I sit down and I think about just my own life experiences and how I've been able to navigate and position myself here, majority of that success is stemmed from just being ready for opportunities when they presented themselves.
Yeah.
I think about the unique experience in undergrad where I would be in class learning about just-in-time inventory, right? Production management. And I would go to work and I was learning about inventory. But that was me also taking advantage of unexpected opportunities. And so to my younger self and to younger listeners that may be following and tuning in live with us, is make sure that you remain open to the unexpected opportunities. You're young. And so utilize that to your advantage. When I sit down again and I just process, I turned down a free master's to go take a $12 an hour job in Chicago. But if I would have not taken that risk and that leap of faith, I would not be able to sit here before you today as a history maker and open Brooklyn's first 2 Chick-Fil-A restaurant as a Black man. Right. And so that was me remaining open to the possibilities. And so continue to dream, leave your options open, and embrace failure because it is a part of life. Those are things that are going to happen. And I always tell my younger leaders who are running my business, what I say is, it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes, you need those to continue to learn from. But if you are making the same mistakes once or twice, then maybe we are not paying attention and we have to do something a little bit differently. But don't be afraid to take the risk and don't be afraid to fail.
Thank you so much, Brandon J. Hurst, for coming on Historically Black Sense. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Go Hornets.
Go Hornets. Thank you. Our next guest tonight is a Tuskegee University alum, motivational speaker, and the author of an empowering children's book called Collette's Courage. Please welcome Collette V. Smith to the show. Hello, Ms. Smith. How are you? We can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you. Can you live television, everybody? It's okay. We cannot hear you now. Again, live television. How about this? We're gonna fix this and bring on somebody else. Okay, fix the audio issue. Bring on somebody else. Okay, sorry about that. That's live television, people. This is what happens. Our next guest is a pre-nursing student at North Carolina Central University. Please welcome Naomi Williamson to the show. Hello, Naomi.
Hi,
Thank you so much for coming. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Listen, you recently ran for Miss Freshman at NCCU. But you lost to Mackenzie Renwick. But what specific moments or experience did you learn during your Miss Freshman campaign that taught you, you know, to help you go moving forward in your career at NCCU?
Honestly, just stepping out my comfort zone. I said this before, but this whole experience was something new, and like throughout high school, I was a part of a basketball team, and myself in a box almost. So looking back, I don't think I was involved at all. So just stepping out my comfort zone and just getting involved, it was something that I didn't think I'll ever do. Um, Initially, like after our first showcase practice, I called my mom and I was crying and I was telling her like I do not want to do this. I don't know what I just got myself into,
Mhm.
but I don't think I can do it. And toward the end, I'm so proud that I stayed in it because it just came with so many blessings along the way. So that's what I learned. Just stepping out my comfort zone, which is also what my platform is based off of. Stepping out of my comfort zones.
Now, do you think you will run again? Did you like the people who with the process and the election thing? You know, Jamal Cersei, all those people over there at NCCU. Did they help you really well with the process?
Yes, everyone was such a big support. Even the campaign of the other people on Royal Court I was running up against was a big support. We all helped each other throughout the whole thing. So I'll definitely run again because it was such a loving environment and they made it so welcoming and it was so fun. So I would for sure run again.
All right. So you used a Shade Room post featuring rapper Young Thug's lead calls as a creative marketing strategy for your campaign. What made you want to use this type of strategy to bring some more eyes to your campaign?
So although the post is on my account, I cannot take all credit. My best friend came up with the idea, and before I can even say yes, like, oh my gosh, let's do this, she had already made the post. And I was like, wow, this looks so real. And it was so funny. So I just posted it, and from there, it just did its thing. It was not something that I expected to blow up, but use AI to create it. Very powerful. Doing this for
What's one organization or leadership opportunity that you're most excited to explore at NCCU this year?
I'm excited to explore more about SGA, which is also tied in with Royal Court, the student government. I want to get people's inputs on a lot of things around campus. Although I didn't win this year, I do plan on running again. Even if my role isn't as Miss Freshman, somewhere in Senate or Vice President, Class President, somewhere along SGA. Now I'm very excited to look more into throughout my 4 years here.
As we show your viral post, you had me fooled. You had me in the choco. I thought this actually post that was showing that to our audience. Thank you. So that's a lot. Wait. So you want to be a CRNA? Talk about that as well. You're a pre-nursing student. What's your long-term goals with that?
Yeah. So after I pre-nursing or my prerequisites are finished, I do plan on becoming a CRNA. I'm excited about that. I do. Central has a very competitive nursing program to get into. So if that doesn't work here, I plan transferring to Emory back at home in Atlanta to continue my studies. But I'm excited to become a nurse or a CRNA, anywhere in the medical field where it's me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you, Naomi Williamson.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you.
Let's try again with Miss Collette Smith. Is she still? Do we have audio situation working with her now? Let's try it now, Miss
I
Smith.
hope so.
Oh yes, loud and clear, live television.
I hope so. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've been here since 7:30, and I'm like, let's go. What are we doing?
That's the coaching you. We appreciate that. How are you doing tonight?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. You know, first of all, you know, let's talk about you're a proud, I can say, Tuskegee University alum. Can you talk about how your alma mater helped you to prepare for your life?
Well, you know, being a proud alum of Tuskegee University, you know, I mean, everything about it was enriching, you know, Black excellence at its finest at Tuskegee University. And, you know, it was amazing to meet other Black students from across the globe. And I say that loosely and firmly, that across the globe, I met African brothers and sisters, and folks from Chicago and Alabama and Detroit. It was just, it was so empowering to see other people that look like me striving for excellence. And we were in the right place.
Absolutely. Listen, you made history as the first NFL African American female coach in with the New York Jets, the first female coach in franchise history. What did it feel like to know that you were opening doors that had never been opened before?
You know, I don't know if I could think about it in that aspect. For me, I was just proud to be the first female coach in New York Jets franchise history. And it wasn't until Billie Jean King, who's an icon and with women in sports, you know, by way of tennis. And she was the one that told me, Collette, you know, you are the very first Black woman to be a coach in the National Football League's history. And it was a shock to me. So for me, it was just about, I knew what I knew. My knowledge was strong. My confidence was high. And I just wanted to be, like, put me in again, coach. Let's go. You know, and what I discovered was that my role there opened up the doors for other young Black women and girls.
Yeah.
So just, you know, in a sense, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah.
So I didn't go there with the focus of, I want to be the first Black woman. It wasn't my goal. My goal was just to do what I was loving, which was football. And that happened. So I'm proud to be a conduit for us, for my community, for my Black community.
You describe yourself as God's servant warrior, and it's clear that faith plays a central role in your life and mission. As you continue to break barriers and inspire others, what's your vision for the future?
My vision for the future is to have all of our Black young folks to realize that they are already exceptional, for them to realize that greatness already lives inside of us and that we are here. And unless we use the power in our voice and the presence of ourselves into this world, that we can win. We can win. And I want us to not bow down. We're not bowing down to anybody. We're not trying to be aggressive either. We just want our position in this world. And I'm here to level the playing fields for everybody. Collectively, we are a force. But individually, I need every single young Black man and every single young Black woman to know that they are worthy and capable of everything good and everything great.
You have a new children's book out right now. It's called
Yes.
Collette Courage, which
Oh yeah.
encourages every children, especially young Black girls, to dream big, speak proudly, and never let anyone define their worth. And you spoke on that earlier during our conversation. Why is it important for you to create a book like this?
So, I didn't personally, I did not discover self-love until very late in my life. And I found it to be very imperative and vital for me to write this book to let young Black girls know that everybody has fear, but it's how you handle it that makes you a bigger and stronger person, not for the world, but for yourself. So this book was vital in me showcasing the fact that if we speak up and we ask for what we know should be, when they don't give us a seat at the table, we bring our own table. So this book just showcases the power of using your voice. And I'm very proud of this book.
We thank you so much. We want to let our audience know Colette's Courage is available wherever books are sold. Thank you so much, Miss Smith, Colette Smith, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm going to send it to Eddie Niel with the HBCU fun fact. Eddie?
Hi, Shami.
Hi, Shmai. Thank you so much. Good. Thank
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Eddie Niel, your 3-time state pageant queen and your historically BlackSince HBCU fun fact host, back with another gem of Black excellence. Now, Las Vegas might be known for bright lights and big stages, but today's spotlight is shining in the courtroom. Did you know the very first Black woman to serve as a district judge in North Las Vegas is an HBCU graduate? Let me tell you guys right quick. This is Judge Belinda T. Harris. She not only makes history as the first Black woman district judge in North Las Vegas, but she's also a proud Howard University alum. And before her HBCU, she walked the same halls as I did at Las Vegas Academy of the Performing Arts. Yes, y'all, we share an alma mater. Her path to the bench is living proof of what HBCU excellence and dedication can do. From an HBCU to the courtroom, she embodies both legacy and leadership. Representation in law matters, especially in a city where the bench hasn't always reflected its community it serves. Judge Harris' seat isn't just a win for her, but it's a win for every young Black girl that dares to dream and sees herself on a stage or with a robe or a gavel in hand and making decisions that shape lives. And here's the beautiful part. Judge Harris doesn't just break glass ceilings, she opens doors. Her journey proves that HBCUs has done what it always does in preparing us to lead, serve, and shine no matter the stage. And then we can see a little clip of what she has to share with us. Okay, we'll see that later. To everyone watching, drop some love in the comments for Judge Harris and tag a future lawyer, a future leader, a future leader who needs to see this. This is your fun fact for the day. Now go rep your yard and your future and make sure you're following Historically BlackSince on Instagram to catch a full interview with Judge Belinda T. Harris. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. And with that, I'm passing it over to Damar and Sakira.
So much. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Zykeria Parrish, a senior at the real Blue and Gold and the unsinkable Albany State University, here with.
Greetings, everyone. I am DeMar Richards, a senior and biology scholar from Conyers, Georgia, representing the #1 public HBCU in the state of Georgia for 7 consecutive years, Fort Valley State University.
That can be debatable. But however, tonight we wanted to bring to you our mental health initiative. And tonight we'll be talking about depression connected to academic performance. And we have 4 misconceptions we would like to bring to you today.
Yes, our first point is grades equal self-worth. So amplifying that the idea that a person's value is defined by GPA or test scores. So I can bring this to you today by saying that GPA technically really isn't everything. It tells health, tells your intelligence, not even just test scores, but doing your best through school and making the most of opportunities, and saying that even if you do bad on a test, it's not the end of the world, and bigger and better things are to come your way. This also creates pressure and shame when performance isn't perfect, meaning that if you don't do your best, it doesn't mean that your day just ends there. Just do better next time.
I agree, Damar. Actually, I had a personal experience myself where I had a grade that I wasn't really proud of, and it had me questioning my academic ability because I feel like we strive for success, especially being a student leader, and seeing something that could be devastating. It makes you think and it affects your mental health of, am I good enough? And even that brings us into like our next point, which is failure means you're not smart. And I live by, the quote that failure isn't fatal, and just because we fail at something doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end all be all. And that's misconception. Many believe that a bad grade means a lack of intelligence, when in reality, it might just be about study strategies. It might be about time management or even external stressors. So it's not necessarily about the fact that you failed at something this one time. It's okay, because I feel like failure is how we learn. Failure is how we incorporate different lessons as well.
Thank you for that, Zai. As we bring into our third point, which is everyone else is doing better, meaning that social comparisons, especially in competitive programs or non-social media, can make students think that they are falling behind even when others are struggling too. I can definitely account to this because when I first came to Fort Valley State University, I used to see on social media guys wearing like suits and looking their best, and I didn't have that at the time. So my mental state was like, I don't think I'm good enough to do that. And as time went on, my mentors taught me that everything does happen for a reason, and that life is about steps and progress. And that's why I always say don't let social media be your endpoint, because social media is, yes, is a big platform, but what you do in person, what you do going forward always is important, and to not let others decide your future and your fate.
I definitely can attest to that, Damar. I feel as though social media, or just period, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you could, enlighten your younger self about not having as much as other students, or even a message to someone that's watching about comparison or how they may feel to other students socially, physically on campus, like what would you give that person or that student? What advice would you give to them?
The best advice I would tell them is to make the most out of opportunity, not to be afraid of making mistakes, and that it's okay to fail. My dad always told me that the biggest misconception is that failure is not supposed to happen, but he always told me, where would history be without failure? So that's one thing I live by. If I fail a test, I say, okay, I'm gonna study better. If I miss an assignment, I just know to do the assignment ahead of time. Or, for example, of course, I serve as Mr. Fort Valley State University. Sometimes I may miss an email, I may miss an assignment that I have to tell my kings or my queens, of course, that we might have to do. And they may remind me, hey, Damar, we have to do this. Hey, Damar, we forgot to do this. And this is also keeping me accountable, not just as a man, but as a leader. So I would just tell them to just make the most out of opportunities and don't be afraid of failure, because failure is inevitable. But it's not a bad thing, but just try your best to do better next time.
That is beautiful. I honestly probably would tell little Zai or anyone watching that it does get better. Nobody is doing better than you. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. If we're all running this race, and to run a race, you have to stay in your lane, and or you get disqualified. So thinking about it like that, like staying in your lane, making sure that you are on your track, on your desired path, which brings me into, our next topic, which is one mistake ruins your future. Students may be told or assume that one failed exam or a low semester will destroy their chances at a career, which is honestly rarely true. I feel as though that assignment that you failed, or something that happened 2 semesters ago, you couldn't really tell you from 2 years ago that assignment ruined your future. Like, I can't remember personally an assignment as a sophomore that hindered me from now, because it hasn't. So I feel as though like one mistake absolutely does not ruin your future. How do you feel, DeMar?
One mistake does not. I would say that the biggest necessary regret I've had in school was not applying to internships sooner. Of course, I wasn't necessarily given the proper resources when I first came here, but I did start late. And that is one thing I would tell my younger self, is to apply to internships sooner in my college years, because when it came to last year, I had an internship, but I lost it, of course. So it's been kind of hard to get back to that point, but that would be one mistake that I wish I did, but it's okay. Life goes on, you know.
Definitely, life does go on, but it's important that we assist our mental health by identifying these misconceptions or identifying things that we necessarily don't talk about when it comes to mental health, and including like the status of depression and the stats that actually happen within college students. Personally, I know that our depression rate is a lot higher because we are all around the world. We're doing all these different things, especially at our HBCUs. We are all trying to get somewhere in defying odds. But honestly, that really pretty much concludes our mental health segment, guys. This is the 4 things. Oh, you have something to say, Demar?
Yes, so I would ask you, of course, as a student leader on campus, how do you define, or how do you help your mental health when you're not having the best day, or how do you prepare yourself for the day to get,
to have an impactful day? Honestly, as a student leader, I have to tell myself no. And sometimes to the world, it may look selfish for you. So, like, I would give advice to someone watching or other student leaders that, saying no isn't selfish. It's honestly giving yourself the room to process things, especially at least on my campus and being a student leader. I have done, for example, so many things today, but I still need an opportunity to decompress. I still need a moment with God. I still need a moment to recollect myself, because how can you show up in these different positions? How can you show up in these different areas if you're not present within yourself? At that point, you're not you. You're just someone who's programmed to operate like a robot, and we're human. And that is also essential when it comes to mental health. So thank you for that question.
of course.
But yes, now we are concluding our mental health segment. I will be returning it back to our host. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great discussion. Let's bring everybody on board. Earlier in the show, we had Naomi. Hey, Deuce, what's going on? Naomi Williamson, who ran for Miss Freshman over at NCCU, and recently edited a Shade Room post during the frenzy surrounding rapper Young Thug and his jail cell call to make it look like he endorsed her campaign. Deuce Tucker, you are a FAMU alum. You have ran some campaigns in your day. That's like 100 years ago, but we digress. What's the most creative theme or promo you've seen on your campus?
Ooh.
I know this a long time ago. I know. Woo!
Stop. Don't start with me like that, bro. Man, I'm gonna get you now. Let me see. It was a couple actually, man. Let me see. So it was a couple. I seen one where a good friend of mine, his name is Jackson, and he's a performer and dancer. So his whole theme was behind the Dangerous album of Michael Jackson in 1992. And the way that he was able to format it when it comes to the creative artistry of the videos that he was able to put together, because during this time he was running, I believe it was like during COVID, so he had to become very innovative. And he basically kind of brought out this sense of spontaneous as well as creative instinct, where people were not necessarily expecting him to be one of the most viral figures on campus, and he was ended up to being the FAMU Rattler mascot. And just him being able to display that sense of humility while also being able to like remodel some of Michael Jackson's original unreleased dance clips, or backstage moves or Super Bowl performances. It was very incredible. I ran, like you said, I ran like a few campaigns. I ran like a couple. One, I actually did something referred to it was The Matrix. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
It's a very iconic movie. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, you know how it's one of them scenes where Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves, they're on the side where they have guns.
Yes.
I had snakes.
Oh.
And I was flying with an orange suit.
And
it's been so many other ones. It was also this last one, this one young lady. I think she did she made like a mixture between Dreamgirls and Princess and the Frog. I don't know how she did it, but when I say yo, I was like blown away. It wasn't like the most traditional type of campaign, but when people were like, yo, like I never seen something like this before. And my homegirl, she did BAPS. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Yeah, who has it? If you're black, you haven't seen BAPS, your card needs to be revoked. But Eddie Niall, you are our seasoned, queen, pageant queen. What's some great creative campaigns you've seen? Wow, I just rhymed.
You did. I will say, just being in the AUC, you see so many things. Ooh. I can't remember exactly who it was, but she had like, I don't know how she did it, but she orchestrated where she had horse carriages take students to class. It was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Like we had to come between a certain time.
That's a good budget.
And then, of course, with being in Atlanta, someone did a Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it was like Real Queens of Clark Atlanta. It was so cute, and her like campaign week segment was like episodes, kind of like Real Housewives of Atlanta episodes, and then she also had like some Real Housewives of Atlanta, like some of the housewives actually say vote for her and all that stuff, and I thought that was like so cute and so cool.
Did she win?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I can't remember.
You got some housewives. That's good ratings there. All right, Damari, what's some campaign themes you've seen?
I've seen Fresh Prince. I've seen China last year. She was Miss VSU, I believe. She did, I forgot. She did a really good campaign, I remember. I did give me 1 second. I have a little blunder, but I've seen a lot of good campaign stuff, I would say.
What have you seen? Go ahead.
I have seen a few of them. One of my favorites is our 82nd Miss Albany State. She did ABOT, I think it's ABOT Elementary. That's how you pronounce it? Abbott. I'm so sorry. Don't pick me up.
That's
take my card.
That's a show now.
I have not watched it.
I got robbed at the Emmys this past weekend, but we digress.
She actually did a video breaking the fourth wall of students asking her about becoming Miss Albany State University. I also ran last year, and when I did that, last semester, I did it in memory of our founder, which is Joseph Winthrop Holly, and I did a Welcome to Hollywood theme. So it was big. I had a limo. I did a lot. I did a whole lot, but it was definitely fun. It was a great experience. I have seen Dreamgirls before. I have seen our second attendant last year, Miss DeSanchi Woodson. She is in ROTC, so she did a whole theme surrounded by the Army and even incorporating it during the royal pageant. So it's been a long list of them, including like our current Miss Albany State. She did 504 in Park instead of 106 in Park, and that was also creative as well.
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen so many Dream Girls, and I've seen one, The Real. It was a former talk show. I've seen some girl do The Real. That was a good one. So it was pretty cool. This very creative. Oh, I've seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I've seen Bel-Air. I've seen All American. Like I've seen all these are very creative people. I'm really enjoying that. All right. So for students watching their peers go viral or get a lot of attention, how can they manage competition and protect their mental health? Let's go to our mental health experts first.
So how can they protect their mental health during this? Back into not comparing yourself. I can say during campaign season, one of the things I took pride in was staying true to myself and having integrity of knowing that this is seasonal. We're going to have a whole nother court, a whole nother opportunity in the following spring semester. So knowing that, okay, first and foremost, this is temporary, one. However, it is a networking opportunity, win, lose, or draw. If you are able to be on the court, amazing, but this doesn't take away from your worth. This doesn't take away from the things that you are able to provide on campus, especially if you're operating in a space where it doesn't necessarily stop. So for example, my platform is off of mental health. As we see, that is still something I operate in. That is still something that's near and dear to me. So it's not something that could make me feel like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I not support my peers in? It just so happens that's how sometimes the cookie crumbles. It just wasn't in the favor of me serving this year, and that's okay because I'm able to serve in other aspects like this as well.
Thank you for
Go
that.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say embracing the moment. I was in a situation where I was actually the first Mister to be unopposed for Mr. Fort Valley State. And my mental, surprisingly, you would think that because I was unopposed, that I was like, oh, I got in the bag, I'm about to be 18 Mr. Fort Valley. But my mental actually was kind of down because I was a little depressed about it because I really wanted competition. I grew up around a lot of competition and working for things. And I felt like, did I really deserve this? Was it just a fluke or, do I truly deserve this? And I think that's why for the pageant and for campaign season, even though I was by myself, I was going so hard, make sure everything went well with events, make sure my talent went well, oratory went well. Even though I was by myself, I still wanted to show the school that, yes, even though I technically, even if I vote for myself next time, the next Mr. Fort Valley, that I was right to be in this position, that I would lead this school into success and everything good to come his way. So I would say, just embrace the moment, even when things don't look like they're going to go your way. You never know what God has in store for you. So that's what I would say.
Go ahead, Deuce.
Honestly, in reference to things that come with mental health and respect for, I guess, within y'all space as well, because y'all are still in school and things of that nature. The thing about it, when you're in undergrad, a lot of times you feel like your world is so, the world is big, but you feel like the world is so small. Yes. Especially within a HBCU, sometimes it can feel as if it's a bubble. Basically you're so composed, as well as you are receiving so much information from your peers that are literally sitting next to you, or someone who's down there in that residential hall, or who's in the next class, to the point of you feel like you forget that the world is way bigger than just the 8,000-9,000 people. Well, that's for our school. We have 10,000 people at our school. Well, just the amount of people that are at your institution. And I feel as if it's imperative for you to be able to know who you are and realize the things that make you happy. Because if you get lost within this sauce, or within this juice, or within this sense of notoriety, you're going to lose yourself. And that's never the best thing to do. So always stay true to who you are. Find ways to become innovative, creative, and unique, and continue those ways throughout your journey through college and beyond.
All right. What's the more? Well, go ahead, Eddie.
Okay. For me, I'm speaking from a pageantry sense of like state pageants and USA titles and stuff. But for me, competition in pageantry isn't about outshining anyone else, but like being comfortable with who I am, and if anything, outshining my own doubts. So like for every contestant, it's important to acknowledge and honor their own light, and also remembering that my path is divinely aligned. So what's meant for me will never miss me. You know what I mean? And not stressing over that. And also it's important to protect your mental health and staying grounded in who you are in and outside of, for my case, pageantry or campaign week, and outside of that crown. It's important for me. Things I do is like practicing daily affirmations and prayer is really important for me, and like self-care, just things that remind me of like who I am and my values and my worth. And of course, setting boundaries with comparison and negativity, because your own energy also deserves like that protection. And then, of course, for me, is a strong support system. So, like, genuine friends and then family members who love you and support you, and then just remind you of, like, a little bit more of who you are, and remind yourself that you're more than a title, that you are a person, a human being. And then also, pageantry is just one chapter. It's for the year, you know what I mean? And your joy, your peace, your purpose is lifelong. And that's going to, like, be with you beyond pageantry, beyond that campaign week. And then also perception allows me to like compete fiercely. You know what I mean? With having that perspective of everything I just said, that allows me to be comfortable with who I am and compete with confidence and grace and peace of mind and win every title that I compete.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
That was beautiful.
That was a small flex there. I know that's right.
Look, humble flex. That was a humble flex.
A little jab. But we thank everybody for joining us today. That does it for us here at Historically Black Sense News. I'm Shemai Cook.
I'm Deuce Tucker.
I'm Eddie Nael.
I'm Zykeria Parrish.
I'm DeMar Richards.
And this has been Historically Black Sense News. We'll see you guys next week. The action never stops. Stay black, everyone. Love you all.
Stay blessed. Have a great night.